If earth peace is to herald the dawn of the new age, realize that
Humanity is one's only religion, breath one's only prayer, and consciousness one's only God. At the outset, let me tell you that every time you begin a new technique with me, your body is rejuvenated. These are rejuvenating and spiritually evolving techniques. And today, I'm going to initiate you into the technique of the Siddhanath, Hamsa and Kundalini transmission enlightenment. The Siddhanath, Hamsa and the Kundalini transmission enlightenment. The technique cannot be known by teaching or learning. The technique I cannot teach you. The technique you cannot learn. You can mentally digitize it in your mind substance. The technique is known by becoming. The technique is known by becoming the technique. So drink this chalice of nectar and actualize the essence of your being. Alak Niranjan Adi. In English we call it simply the She, the Siddhanath Healing and Enlightenment, and because the Hamsa is there, we are the Hamsa Yoga, the Siddhanath Hamsa, the Siddhanath Healing and Kundalini Transmission Enlightenment. There will be a Kundalini transmission, but I would rather not your physical body feel it. I would rather it go towards the spiritual storehouse of your essential consciousness. Doesn't matter if you don't understand me. It doesn't matter. What matters is immaterial. Only the spirit is essential. It's not coming from there. Where's this sound coming from? The car? Oh, the temple, then it's okay. It's a temple sound. Absorb it in your spine and open the lotus and close the lotuses with that.
You can open the windows more. Maybe.
Yeah, open it. It doesn't. It will not going to disturb. It's very nice.
You need to open something.
But you can request them that there's a session going on. Can you open these two doors, which are cross section? So I can get a bit of. Not that, to the side, so I get a cross ventilation. There is no thing here. Oh, it's, I have to make it. No, not now. Can't you open the window? No. Open the window. No. This one. Open it full. Is it open? Yeah. Is that all it opens? Yes. Okay, that's it. That's it. What I have taught you in this session will take you 100 years to digest. So please be regular in your practice. You're being given more than this thing, like a person eating. The lunch is very good and you eat more than you can digest. These techniques are very powerful. Even one of them can take you to divine salvation, to liberation. Techniques are extremely powerful. But since you want, do you want this technique? Aye. And how much more? If I give you 100 more techniques, you would want the techniques to try out? Aye. Try out and taste everything and practice nothing. Yes, that's us. That's us. America. We are shopping. We are going shopping to the supermarket. But I'm giving you this because this has relevance to your past lives and what you have done in the past. So what you deserve, you will get. Because you have worked for it. But I only pray to your soul that whatever you do, whatever religion you are, wherever you go, these techniques are supreme techniques given from the highest source on this planet Earth ever by the Supreme Shiv Goraksha Babaji. Although in common jargon, in Palans, I say I am the originator of the Surya and have evolved these two techniques for service to humanity. In truth, it is God, it is Babaji who gives us the inspiration and the brains and the insight, as he gives all the saints and sages of the world, all time ever, Orpheus, Hermes, Zarathustra, all the mighty and lofty beings come out from the same banyan tree. They branch out from the same Ashwatha, or the banyan tree, who is called the Nameless One. He about whom not may be said. Be cautious not to have Coca-Cola with him. Because there are many, everybody is called Babaji, it just means revered father. But everybody is not Babaji. Babaji is in every one of our souls. He is the essence of our souls, but we are all not in Babaji. This is the subtle difference which we must, you see, people tend to fly off. And why not imagine, say that, Shivoham Shivam, I am God, I am God, I am God. It's a good mantra to say, I am God, I am God, I am God. Formerly, if you were in a Jewish community, they would say, oh, it's blasphemy. It's not blasphemy, it's just a way. But you are God, I am God, I am God. But you have not realized that you are God. You're just parroting that you are God. The only one who says he is not God is God. Because why will he say he is God? Because he is God. You see, like we don't go, apparently I'm Gurunath, I'm so and so, I'm so and so. So we have to be very careful. This science which I'm giving to you is not of books. It is the science of being and becoming. The greatest obstacle to the input of spiritual knowledge is a highly intellectual and analytical mind, which people tend to have in Western countries. India must come to the West and learn how to organize themselves from the West. West must come to India and the East and learn how to dissolve themselves. They are too over-organized. Because of their organization and digitality, they have become tense and have contained themselves, in spite of themselves, in watertight compartments. They try to reason and think out everything. It's beyond reason. So if you allow yourself, you means I'm addressing not your soul, but your mind this time. But if your mind is the mind, the ego, or the shell which is formed, which is called ego, not in a bad sense. If you allow yourself, if you find the shell, if you allow yourself to this thing. See, if you're coughing here, if you feel you're disturbing others, you could sit at the back and Dan could come in the front. So if the cough is more, then you can go out and have some water. Would you like to do that?
I will do that if I start it up again.
Okay. Okay. Now, this is what I'm giving you is the science of becoming. It is the science of being and becoming. The energies, the spiritual powers that you receive during this transmission and during this learning are not to be confused with other people. There may be greater or there may be less, but it's not this. This is directly from Babaji. There are many of my old students who go to other people who presumably give what is called Shaktipat or Shivapat or Pranapat. They may say anything. But That is specifically not to be confused, because if I sit for a moment, I can contact the person you've been to within a second. That is an animal magnetism. The pure Shakti of Kundalini, why I'm being very specific with you, because your mind demands my specificality, that I tell you that unless the Khechri is completed, the pure spiritual energy of Kundalini does not come. So the guy you go to, make him open his mouth the next time, and you shall be in no doubt. I'm just being specific. But by being specific, I lose the mystique of it, and some people like to have the mystique, which you will have and have a lot of time to do. Now this technique is again here, I call this an enlightened technique. The path is the alchemy of total transformation. We are to focus on 3 lotuses which I have given you. One is the navel lotus, the green lotus, behind the navel at the back, working with which, when you work with that lotus as a tool, you transform your lust into emotion. I'm talking of the totale trasformazione in the emotional body. I. Then when you work on the golden lotus, you transform emotions into love. I wonder why she's taking down notes. And when you work on the third eye lotus, love is transformed into divine consciousness. Is that clear? This is the alchemy of total transformation, where you transform what is called the greatest attachment for the soul to be in incarnation is lust. The lust for life, lust for money, lust for women, lust for drink, lust for wine. So this lust has to be transformed. Although we are very pure now and at a higher stage after doing the Surya, there are residual traces of past life lust sanskars. And when the opportunity comes, they spring into action and you say, oh, how did I do this? It's not me, it's not like me. But you can't help it. Because the animal in you, the drive of lust, of power, of greed, of aggression is so powerful that you cannot withhold it by mere sitting in meditation, or by mere chanting, or by mere devotion, or by mere philosophical reasoning, which they call Gyan Yoga, or even by Raj Yoga. You have to do the true Hatha. That's why Babaji says to uproot the past traces, the residual traces of the past which lie in your subconscious mind. To ease disease of random mind, a remedy suitable we must find, a rhythmic breathing, tension-free, with absorption as its sovereign key. So you have to have either concentration or absorption. So these techniques will transform. They should concentrate, and by that transform lust into emotion, emotion into love, love into divine consciousness. It's very easy to do, but it requires a devotion of, you have to devote some time or space to it. So I'm trying to shift your values a little, but let me tell you, as long as life is there, your errands will never stop. So push your errands aside, create space for God. There is no space for God, because a person is so tempted to finish his work. He's digital, he's organized, he's efficient, wants to finish his day-to-day work, that you have no time to do nothing. And nothing is the source of everything you could ever have, which could be called joyous and loving and knowledgeable and true. So you must be in the nothingness of the now. This is very important, because I'd like to tell you that, we are very holy. When I was small, I was a holy person because I went to church. And while I was going to church, I also went into synagogues. And I used to be in the synagogues because that thing I used to make a banda of the, what is the shawl that is, huh? Talit. Talit. Is that, it's called that in Jewish? Is that what you call it, the talit?
Talis, yeah.
Talis? Talis?
It's talit, but some people won't say it.
Just a minute. Let the chosen ones speak. Only I want the chosen ones to speak, nobody else. The chosen ones. Okay, the young Dan at the back, what's it called? He doesn't know.
Talis.
Talits.
Talis.
Talis.
Yes.
What's
It's talit.
Talit?
But some people. That's plural. No, it's talit, but some Orthodox, the Hasids won't pronounce the last T. They'll change it to an S because that's what they do.
The T has to be there. By the virtue of its being so old, the T must be there. So the talit is there. When you take it around you, there are 4 corners of the talit which you wrap around you. Okay? That is called the kavach. The kavach of Abba. Did you know this? So you're speaking somebody who's deeply connected to Joshua and Aaron, right? So I am Kohan too. This is a past life before the one I told you. Since I'm in a mood of telling past lives. So, doing this I was in bondage and slavery and helped to make the pyramids. And Moses was our God, who I see in Sri Yukteswar now, and see in the great Manu, the Vaibhashvat Manu, the great lawgiver. Anyway, this interesting digression. Now, the talit, you have to bind, it's a kavach, it's a protective shield against all negativities. And you have to bind it and form the knot. It's very, very important. With a mantra, there's a mantra for it also. So it seals. It acts as a mudra, the seal. Talit mudra. Now, so we used to go to the synagogue. I went to the church and I prayed. And every time before meals we used to say, Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, for thy kingdom come. We used to say this and then we say, well, for what we are about to receive, may the Lord make us truly thankful for Christ's sake. You know that? How do you know that? You sing the same grace as us?
We used to say it.
You belong to my religion.
We used to say it at boarding school.
Oh, boarding school. Which boarding school is this?
In Switzerland.
Oh, mine in Switzerland, and I was in India, in Nainital, and they said the same grace. Good, uniformity, which we are trying to get. So we used to say this grace and we became very holy and pious. But the moment I was very holy in my thoughts. Indeed, I was something else, because every time at the end of the session, we used to invite the girls' school to come, and we had to show our best manners. Now, opposite me was a greedy girl. So we had to offer the plates of cakes to them. So what I did is I put my thumb on the cake I liked and offered. Now that girl, she was very strong. She put her hand in that cake and she was struggling with that for me, and there was a lot of hard feelings. And then ultimately she took half and I took half. So the next year the girls came, we were invited them for this thing. For what we are about to receive. Immediately as I said that, I saw they're all us good Christians. We had our eyes closed, and in thought I was very pure, but indeed I was what I was. So for what we are about to receive, I stretched out, took the meringue. I like the meringue. Put it on. May the Lord make us truly thankful for So in thought we are something, indeed we are something. It's very, very important. Once a Christian missionary visited India to convert the pagan Indians into Christianity. he was bringing something new. So this was Christian religion, 2000 years old. Indian religion traces 20,000 years ago. Anyway, he would come to teach something. The desire to teach. Like a small child teaches his father, no daddy, it's not like this, it's like this. I'll show you. Put on your specs. My grandson tells me, if you can't read, put on your specs. So the Christian missionary was like this. And he was walking through the jungles. He was a holy man. And along from the other side came a lion. So the Christian missionary looked at the lion and said, oh, love won't do. Because Jesus taught love. So do we all. But here, he doubted that love would work. And so his mind was racing to find some other technique or thing which he could do, to get away from the lion. He said, if I run in 2 leaps and bounds, he's going to catch me and finish me off. Then he got an idea. He said, I got an idea. Stare at the lion. So the lion came closer and the priest went closer. And he kept his eyes fixed, and the lion came along and the priest went along. And the priest's footsteps were dragging to a still, but he appeared to be a courageous man, and then they came face to face, and the priest stared at the lion, and the lion stared at the priest. Now this was no ordinary lion. He was a holy lion. And he said his prayers and all his things, and of course in India you can expect such a thing. So, and he stared at the priest, and the priest stared. And then the impossible happened. The impossible happened. There came a deep rumble. Om, Om. And the lion put his hands up like this. And the priest said, what is he doing? The priest thought to himself, the lion is praying. Of course he was praying. He was a holy lion. And all his thoughts were full of prayer. He was a holy lion. His thoughts. Priest also said, I'll do this. So the lion said, hey, what are you doing? So he said, I'm praying. He said, what are you doing? The lion said, I'm saying grace. Because he was a holy lion. I'm talking about you. You are the holy lion. You are the holy lion because we go to church. We are holy. We are holy lions. But indeed, in thought he was a holy lion. But indeed, he was a lion. He ate up the priest.